I awoke with a sense of confusion and panic. There was a man with his face so close to mine and a bright light all around. I heard the gentleman next to him say, "You're going to have to cut off the shirt." To which I exclaimed, in my mind snapped back, "My shirt, my shirt, my shirt? You can't cut off my shirt. I had just got this shirt the other day. It was a gift from my grandma. I had recently been adopted by my dad, and my shirt exclaimed my new last name, Boekelheide, barely fit across my 8-year-old shoulders, and I was proud. They were not going to take off this shirt, no matter who this gentleman turned out to be. What had happened, and why I was in this situation where they were going to cut off my shirt, is that I had just put my head through a windshield. My grandma was driving the car, and it was just as seatbelts were becoming the law. My grandma didn't make me wear a seatbelt, and I loved it. Unfortunately, that was not so good for my head that day. As my mom came into the room with her tear-stained face, and I started to figure out, okay.
So it's like seatbelts had just become part of the law. My grandma didn't make me wear them. I thought that's awesome. I love riding with grandma. Not so good for my 8-year-old head.
Yeah.
Like set up the situation just a little bit more because you're doing perfect. I like your cadence.
Okay.
Your cadence is really good. So just set a little bit more with your hand gestures.
Okay.
My favorite part is like really tall women, when y'all cock your hip.
Yeah.
Cock your hip. I mean,
I just don't.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, like that girl that was a model that I showed you
Yeah.
it's like, cross your leg, cock your hip, play with your body a little bit because you are tall. So it's like use that to your advantage. Don't go into the Superman stance, but because you are tall, you can get into that draping and stuff. So, but
Okay.
cadence,
I got to do something else. I think I'm lecturing. My body is lecturing.
that's what your head's telling you. Did Joe say one thing about lecturing?
I know, but I always lecture.
Did she say anything about lecturing?
It wasn't lecturing?
We're playing.
Okay.
We're playing.
Yeah, so
I know we're playing. I got to play bigger when I'm playing, so then I play the right size when I'm on stage. Okay.
start over again. That's like when you started.
I woke up to a man's face much too close to mine and a bright light behind it. I didn't know where I was. He was asking me these questions like, "What's your name? What day is it? Where are you?" And I didn't know what to say. I heard another voice from the other room say, "You need to cut off her shirt." And then my mind really exploded. My shirt, my shirt, my shirt. This was my shirt, and there was no one cutting it off. I had just got this shirt. It was a gift from my grandma. I had recently been adopted by my dad. And as I stood in that courtroom, proud to get my new name, I nodded my answers and shook my head. If you've ever been to a courtroom, you know judges don't like that. Well, probably the stenographer doesn't like that, but they don't like it when you nod. So my dad would elbow me to speak up, and I finally got my new name. It was emblazoned on the back of my shirt. Boekelheide. Barely fit across my 8-year-old shoulders, but I was proud. I had a dad.
Barely fit across my 8-year-old shoulders.
Okay. Barely fit across my 8-year-old shoulders. That day, I had gotten the gift from my grandma, and we were showing it off to all my relatives. We had just left my aunt's house. My grandma and I were riding along. You see, seatbelts had just recently been made the law, but my grandma let me slide. She didn't make me wear my seatbelt. That day, as we stopped at the stop sign and proceeded, we hit a car going 55 miles an hour, T-bone. I didn't have my seatbelt on, and my head went through the windshield. That's why I was laying with the male nurse in front of my face, picking glass out of my forehead.